Slope. Slope is how steep a line is. Slope is an M. I don't know really why they chose M, but S kind of looks like a 5. So that's maybe one reason. Anyways, slope is rise over run. If you wanted to go for a run, don't you first have to rise out of your chair? Rise over run. Rise is your y-axis, run is your x-axis. We'll show you what this formula means later. Look at this graph. This graph has a positive slope. Do you see how it's going uphill? This one is going downhill from left to right. This has a negative slope. This one is really boring slope. It's flat. It has a 0 slope. And the last one is a cliff. It doesn't even have a slope. It is called undefined, meaning we cannot define that slope. It's a cliff. It doesn't have any slope. It just is falling. So this you're going uphill, downhill, flat, boring, 0 slope, and undefined. Look at this line. Are we going uphill, downhill? What are we doing? We're going uphill. This one's going downhill. We're going to try to find the slope, the M. Now, slope is 2 numbers. It's a number, it's a fraction. The top number tells you how far you rise. The bottom number tells you how far you run or over. So, let's start at this point right here. To get to this point, go from one point to the other, do you understand we had to go up a certain distance and over another distance? How far up did we go here? To this point. That is up 1, 2, 3. Do you understand you went up 3? Now, how far over did I go here? Do you understand I went over 1? So, according to this, my slope is up 3 over 1. To get from this point to this point, do I keep that same slope? Am I still going up 3 and over 1? To get from this point to this point, do I go up 3 over 1? For the whole graph, I'm going up 3 over 1. Can I reduce that simply to 3? 3 and 3 over 1 are the same thing. The top number tells you how much you rise. The bottom number tells you how much you run. Okay, for the next one. Now, this one, we don't have a rise, do we? We have a downward. So how far down did we go to this dot? 2. So this one went down 2. Can I put a negative there? It went down. We always go to the right, because it's the right way to go. How far right did we go to that next point? Isn't it 3? So then we go over 3, the run, over 3. Isn't that negative 2 over 3? Over 3. Down 2 over 3. Can you reduce 2/3? No. So it's just negative 2/3. Slope describes how a graph looks, the trend, how steep it is. That is slope. Now, for this particular problem, I want to find the slope. So let's plot the 2 points. Negative 2, 3. Negative 2, 3. And over 1, up 5. I have a line here. I want to find out how steep that line is. Well, let's find my slope. To get from one dot to the next, how far up did I go? How far over did I go? Well, didn't I go up 2? And over 3? I go up 2 over 3. And is that a positive slope? There it is. So you can find your slopes by graphing it. Or there's a formula right here. Y's over the x's. What you got to realize, this is called x1, y1. Why do you think they put the 1 there? It's the first coordinate. This is x2, y2. Are you okay? First coordinate, second coordinate? to find slope, all you do is you take the y values, you take the second one minus the first one, so 5 minus 3, y2, y1, and then the x2 minus the x1, so 1 minus negative 2. So again, you took the y's, subtract them, you took the x's, subtract them. Subtract the y's, subtract the x's. Subtract the y's, subtract the x's. 5 minus 3, isn't that 2? 1 minus negative 2, isn't that 3? Aren't those the same answer? Shouldn't they be? I prefer this method. Some of you might need a graph and get used to the graphing method, but doing this formula is actually pretty important in the long run because you don't always have graph paper. Now, 4 and 5, I'm not even giving you graph paper. Let's find the slope the long way. Not the long way, sorry, with the formula. So let's start with those two numbers. Which one's going to be first? Isn't the second one then the first? So 1 minus negative 3. And the bottom, aren't you going to subtract those two? So isn't that 2 minus 2? Doesn't that give us 4 over 0? Wait, can you divide by 0? Can I have 4 out of nothing? If there's nothing in front of me, could I take 4 of it? That makes no sense. I cannot have 4 of nothing. This is an undefined slope. You cannot take 4 out of nothing. That is an undefined slope. What undefined slope is, it's vertical. If you were to graph this, you'd see a vertical line. This one, if I want to find my slope, I first start with these. M equals, so 5 minus 5 is the top one. And the bottom one will be these two. So 2 minus negative 3. So I subtract the y's, subtract the x's. That gives me 0 over 5. Now, can you take nothing from 5? There's 5 sitting here. Could I take 0 of it? Yeah, I have nothing. So I can take that. That would be nothing. Slope 0. Slope 0, flat line. This is a flat line. Again, this would be a flat line. This one would be a vertical line. Because you could take nothing from 5, but you cannot take something from nothing. Okay, these are two weird slopes. Learn to use the formula, learn to plot it and find it, or look at graphs and find slopes. You've got to get used to the slope idea.